how's it going, and welcome to The Guitar Effect. My name's Rob. In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at 5 great used guitars that I've bought over the last few years that I've been really, really impressed with and that I think are kind of sleeper guitars to look out for. So I'm going to get into that in a minute, but before I do, I'll ask you to please like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you can be kept up to date every time we put out a new video. So, to kick this off, I want to apologise to the regular viewers of my channel because it's now been 3 weeks since my last video. And up to this point, I've always put a video out at the very, very least every 2 weeks. The reason for that being, my band has started to get things together after lockdown, and we're in the process of having our first single recorded and mixed and all that stuff, and artwork and videos and everything. So I've been really, really busy with my actual band. More to come on that, but so that's the reason I've been scarce for the people that watch my channel regularly. I apologise for that, so hopefully I'll be getting back into it now. Interestingly also, I have officially run out of gear, I think, that's worth making videos about, so I'm going to have to buy some new stuff, so that's why I'm kind of doing a non-specific piece of gear video for this. So, the reason I decided to make this video was, my last video was my new Squier Thinline Telecaster that I got from Anderton's, which by the time I got it here was €407. And it's a really, really great guitar. After I restrung it with heavier strings, I was much more happy. I am going to change the neck pickup. You can see the video about the guitar here. But it kind of got me thinking that had I taken €407 and hadn't had such a specific thing of wanting the black thin line with the rosewood fretboard and the mirror scratch plate, or the aluminium scratch plate, on my local free ads website, which is called adverts.ie, where there's an amazing music and instrument section, I could have gotten a lot of guitar for €400 for my money. And it just kind of reminded me that I buy all my guitars, unless there's something really specific that I'm looking for. I buy all my guitars used, and I buy them, nearly all of them, off adverts.ie or in my local used music store, Jimmy's, in Dublin, where he has always has an amazing selection of used pedals and amps and guitars. And the reason for that is, I suppose you just get much more value for your money, right? Both in terms of used guitars are cheaper, and also weird stuff shows up easier, I find, on the used market, and unusual stuff, or cleverly close to something but not the real thing. And you'll see what I mean by that. So, like, effectively really good unsung copies. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through 5 really good guitars, in my opinion, at what they do to look out for at various different price points and different sort of levels of, I suppose you could say, expense, but it's not just that. It's different levels of quality, I guess. And they are Strats, semi-hollows, Les Pauls, Telecasters, regular types of rock guitars, I guess. So I suppose let's get started. So let's start with number 5. So this is the Hagstrom Deuce F. It is a semi-hollow body, small body 335 style guitar, but with one very interesting feature is that it has a Fender scale length neck. Before I go into the specs and stuff about this guitar, the most interesting thing I think about this guitar is, I've used this guitar in a lot of bands that I'm in. That's my favourite thing to do with music, is I like to play, alternative rock in bands with other musicians. In all those bands I've ever been in, anytime I've played this guitar, and at gigs as well, people comment on the sound of it. Not necessarily in the look of it or anything, and then anytime I get, anybody asks to try it, they always instantly love it for some reason. It's an extremely versatile guitar, and it's probably the guitar that can do the most heavy lifting of any guitars I have in terms of being versatile and stuff. So just to tell you a little bit about the specs. So this is the Hagstrom Deuce F. It has 2 humbuckers, which are coil splittable with the 2 tone knobs. There's a 3-way selector. It has a 25.25-inch scale length, which is the Fender scale length. Has this kind of long, narrow headstock kind of shape that's pretty cool. And it has really ornate Hagstrom tuners. I'm not sure where this one was made. I'm presuming it was made in Indonesia or Korea. It's about 10 years old. Again, they're not made anymore. Hagstrom makes a different semi-hollow, small body kind of guitar now. And it really is, for me, the perfect combination of Fender and Gibson. It has an airy quality because of the F-hole. You can also get this without the F-hole. You can also get it in a single cut model. Or you could. They don't make this particular style of guitar anymore. And as an all-rounder, I think this is the best guitar that can do the most stuff that I've ever had. A couple of modifications I've made to it. I moved the strap button from behind the heel joint to the top horn because I hate straps that go down there. I also replaced the sort of, how would you describe them, like concave or convex style knobs. It's basically not the barrel knobs, not top hat, like plastic top hat knobs that were hard to use a coil tap with these Telecaster style knurled knobs. It makes it easier to coil split the pickups. Right now I have my amps gain backed off a little bit so you can really hear the clean tone. So here is a neck humbucker sound. It's like what I would describe as quite a modern, detailed guitar. It also has some hex truss rod expander thing. I'm not quite sure. There's some technology going on with the neck that keeps it super straight. Oh, and also, this one has been broken twice. It has literally had the headstock broken off twice. Both times by my kids. So if you're planning on having children, just don't ever want to have any nice things ever again because they break everything. But this has been knocked off its stand twice and the headstock is broken off twice. Once I had it professionally fixed, and the other time I just put it back together with wood glue myself. Plays perfectly, stays in tune perfectly. It's an amazing workhorse of a guitar. So there's the neck humbucker. Clean neck single coil. So to show you some like lead passages on that. Okay, that's the single coil. Here's the humbucker. Humbucker is warm, but sufficiently detailed, and the single coil takes a lot of that mid-range out. So for single coily kind of funky stuff, it works really well. Back on single coil, or Dove's humbucker I should say. Still detail on top end there. Middle setting with both on humbucker. In the middle setting with neck on humbucker. Middle setting with bridge on humbucker. Not that much of a huge difference. So now over to the back pickup. Like again, like a modern sounding bridge humbucker. So if I pull up the tone knob, as I listen to this now, I may need to raise that bridge pickup slightly. So I've changed it over to the overdrive setting on the amp now, and here is the bridge pickup by itself. Single coil. Quite a significant change in tone there. If I then add in the Bogner Ecstasy boost side by itself, put it on the humbucker mode, again you can hear quite a significant difference. So that is the bridge pickup into the middle setting. Both pickups turn the boost off. Both pickups. switching the neck, both pickups to single coils. Massive difference. Neck pickup, both humbuckers. Neck pickup single. So you can really hear how this guitar can give you a lot of single coil options and a lot of humbucker options. It's just a brilliant guitar. So there you go. That's the Hagstrom Deuce F. I'll make a separate video about this guitar by itself because I really think it is a massively versatile guitar. I got this brand new for about €799, I think it was, 10 years ago, which is a lot of money. Maybe it was $699 actually. A lot of money to pay for a guitar. Back then, they seem to go for around the same money on Reverb and eBay now if you can find one. And this is the Hagstrom Deuce F, and the thing about it is important is that semi-hollow chamber, which is I think where that nice airy top end comes from. So this is next up on the list, and this is my Cort Source BV 335 style electric guitar. And I will say that short of finding a Orville one, or maybe someday if I'm impressed enough by one, buying a Gibson 335, this is all the 335 I feel I need. It is, it's just a really brilliant 335 clone. Now, I got this on a free ads website here in Ireland called adverts.ie, and I paid €250 for it, which is probably the equivalent of about $270, something like that. Less than £200, maybe. No, maybe probably about £200 sterling. And it's just an astonishing guitar, right? So I'll just go into the specs. So it's an all maple, laminated maple top, back and sides. It has a maple neck, and it has a bound fretboard, which I really, really love. It has the old school, the kind of, the off-white green plastic old school buttons. It has two really kind of nice warm sounding humbuckers, 2 volumes, 2 tones, a selector switch. It has a really thin, like D profile neck, and it has a standard tunematic bridge and stop bar tailpiece. And that's kind of it. It has a really, really nice shaped headstock that's, while not the same as Gibson, it suits the aesthetic of this style of guitar, and my one is in a really, really nice kind of translucent cherry finish. And also I'll mention the finish on this guitar feels quite, light and thin, and the guitar is really airy and resonates beautifully. So it also plays, even acoustically, it sounds really good. I'm going to turn the volume and tone down, you'll hear it on the mic here. And then, so I'm going to start here in the neck pickup. Middle. And bridge. And if I switch over to the dirty channel on my amp, add in a overdrive pedal. So, like I said, this was €250. Plays gloriously. It sounds like a hollow or semi-hollow bodied 335 style guitar. I've not had extensive experience with an actual 335 to say how close it is, but I know of all the of the 335 copies, so the Epiphones or the Sires, or I had an SX one for a while. This is just by far and away the nicest one I've ever played. They also make one, by the way, that has two P90s and a Bigsby on it, which I'm really looking out for. I think they're very rare again, because I don't think they've been made in a long time. This one was made in China, actually. And I've also played a Tokai 335, like a Chinese one, and again, this is a nicer guitar. I think of all those kind of mid-range copies of 335s, it's the nicest one I've played. I've looked on Reverb. There's one there, which was about, maybe 3 or 4 days ago when I started researching this video. I think I might have found one on eBay as well, and they seem to go for around the $500 to $700 mark. I think if you keep your eye out locally, you can find them for really reasonable money. I think they're a really, really great choice if you're looking for a used, no longer made 335 style guitar. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, this is my main Strat, right? And the reason that I have this on this list is because I've modified it slightly, and it is somewhat rare, and there's generally at least one of them on Reverb, but they are kind of hard to find, right? So what this is a 2014 special Fender Special Run 60th anniversary standard Stratocaster in classic white. It has a alder body, a maple neck, a rosewood fretboard, right, is the wood construction of it. It comes standard with 3 Fender custom shop Fat 50s pickups. In my one, I've removed the bridge pickup and replaced it with a Seymour Duncan Little 59 humbucker. It has a medium C profile neck. It has this classic white, which kind of is like white that's faded or aged to yellow, a kind of creamy yellow. And it is very much a yellow color. It's not off-white. It's yellow. When I got this guitar, it came with a tortoiseshell pickguard, and I hated that tortoiseshell with the aged pickup covers and knobs, and so I got a parchment pickguard and bridge cover plate for it, and all of a sudden I thought it kind of took on a look of a guitar that I necessarily hadn't seen many times before. So the other thing is then my one has Fender locking machine heads fitted to it. I don't think it came with them as standard. I bought this second hand. I don't think it came as standard, and they have staggered height machine heads, so the front 3 machine heads are lower than the back 3 machine heads. It's just, I suppose the other specs to talk about then are it has a synchronized 2-point tremolo, which is really beautiful feeling under the hand. And then the last thing to mention, and I think the most important thing that I love most about this guitar, is it has a compound radius fretboard. I don't know. I presume it's like 12 to 14, maybe something like that. But it's really arched at the fingerboard end and flatter at the further up the neck. So it feels brilliant for playing chords low down. It feels brilliant for playing lead up high. This is my main function guitar, and the fretboard really facilitates that for a long gig. It's really, really amazingly comfortable to play. So I picked up this guitar secondhand in my local music store, and my wife kindly got it for me for my 40th birthday, and that was 5 years ago, and so I've gigged with it a lot. Well, for the first 3 years of that, I've gigged with it a lot. And it's just a brilliant guitar. I've played a lot of Strats over the years. I feel that the parchment and yellow colour scheme is quite unusual, and so I really like that about it. And I think everybody should have a Strat, right? What I always say about a Strat is a Strat can do pretty much anything, but there's a lot of things that only a Strat can do at the same time, like the out of phase sounds and the neck pickup sound and stuff. So if the most versatile guitar that you can have in your hands, in my opinion, is a Strat, especially one that has a humbucker in the bridge. And I know there's a lot of people that don't use humbuckers in the bridges of Strats and think it's a very controversial thing to say. I like a humbucker in the bridge of my Strat. And even if I could, I think I'd replace this with a full-size humbucker. But just to give you a listen to it, it was €1,000 second-hand, by the way. And I have looked up on Reverb and eBay. They go from anywhere between $1,000 to like $1,800 if you can find them. But I think for an American Strat with a compound radius fretboard, 2-point tremolo, really, really great single coil pickups, and, you know, in my opinion, a beautiful looking guitar, but not with that tortoiseshell scratch plate, not my thing at all. So here is the neck pickup sound. I have a compressor on and going into the clean channel of the Cox Studio Tone 20. I have the bright switch on the amp and it sounds like this. Neck pickup, Strat sound, slightly broken up clean amp, out of phase sound. Beautiful, beautiful. Out of phase, neck and middle sounds, and out of middle pickup. It's such a versatile guitar, it can just do so much. The out of phase back sound. If I put on a bit of overdrive with that, this is the Bogner Ecstasy Blue. And then moving on to the bridge humbucker. So it just gives you that extra girth that a single coil just doesn't have. And then I can add a boost to that. Boost seems to add a lot of noise for whatever way I have that wired at the moment. So yeah, for me it's just the perfect Strat, I guess. It's got that compound radius board, it's got the Fat 50s pickups combined with the Seymour Duncan Mini humbucker, the locking heads. It's just a really, really brilliant Strat if you can find one. And I think it's pretty reasonably priced if you can get one for $1,000 for an American Strat that has its own thing going on. Okay, so my number 2 guitar of all the used guitars that I own, and probably of all the guitars that I own, is this. This is my 1997 Orville Les Paul Standard, and it's not Orville by Gibson, it's just Orville. This was made in Japan in 1997, and it is a direct copy of a 59 style Les Paul. And even in that sense, I think, you know, once this may have been, I'm not sure, it may have been, had a cherry burst going around the outside of it, but it's lost that colour from it, because it does appear to be slightly darker around the edges, although there's no, I've never taken the pickup covers off or anything to look under it, but either that or it's just a plain top. And this is a phenomenal guitar. I'm not a Les Paul guy. I never have been. I'm a Tele guy really, but I remember hearing I don't know, an expression or saying once that a really good Les Paul sounds like a Tele on steroids. And I played this in my local music store when I wasn't planning on buying a guitar, and just absolutely fell in love with it. It's got a relatively big neck on it too. I think it's kind of a 50s profile neck compared to the Cort 335. It's a different cup of tea entirely. It's probably a little bit thinner actually than the neck on my Epiphone Les Paul Jr. So I don't think it's exactly a 50s, but it's big neck. The pickups have that top end that is something that I'm not really used to on. I'm just going to turn my mic slightly. Something that I'm not really used to on Les Pauls. The pickups have loads of warmth and body, but they also have a lovely cutting top end. But constant problem with this guitar is, and I think the problem is a nut. I might have to have it looked into. It does go out of tune relatively easily on the G string. Funny thing for a Les Paul. I tuned that up just before we start. I'm just going to tune it up again. So the thing that I love most about this guitar is sort of its unexplainable character, right? It's kind of mojo. I think because it's 25 years old, the wood has dried out or it's been played in or whatever it is about it, but it just sounds, plays, feels. The whole experience of playing it is just brilliant. So the pickups are really like airy compared to all Les Pauls I've played, and I will say that this is the only Les Paul I'm ever going to need. I can't see me, I may buy a Les Paul custom at some point, and actually an honourable mention is for guitars that you can get used is the old Korean Epiphone Les Paul. Epiphone Les Paul customs are really amazing. But back to this, these are not nearly as hard to find as any of the other guitars. The only thing is you will have to import one more than likely from Japan. You can get them elsewhere, particularly in the States. You'll find 3 or 4 of them knocking around on Reverb all the time, but there's loads of them in Japan. And generally they go for around €1,000 mark, but the import and shipping charges are really quite extensive. So yeah, a brilliant guitar. I'll just give you a quick listen to it. So here is the neck pickup. Middle. Bridge. And distorted. Dirty channel on my amp. Out of tune again. So just switch over to dirty channel on my amp and hear the dirty sounds. Beautiful sounding as well. Middle setting. Bridge pickup. So yeah, my perfect Les Paul, about €1,000 plus shipping from Japan, unless you can find one in your market. Just an amazing guitar. Okay, so this is my Thinline Telecaster, right? This is a crafted in Japan, 1996 Thinline Telecaster. I don't know what the wood on the body is. It might be poplar, It's got a maple neck. It's like all-in-one maple neck and fretboard. It's got vintage tuners. It's got 2 Fender Japan 90s wide range humbuckers, which is really significant. I'll come to that in a bit. It's got standard Telecaster's freeway switch, standard volume and tone. My one has been fitted with a piezo. I've made a video about this guitar, which I'll stick up here. You can hear the piezo on that. I don't have it rigged up at the moment to be able to show you, but this is the number one guitar for me on this list, right? I have had this guitar for 22 years and I've just constantly come back to it. It is the guitar by which I judge all other guitars. It's like where I feel ultimately completely at home. Off the compressor first of all. That is the bridge pickup. Here's the middle sound. So the middle sound has this amazing thing where, because of the F hole, it's got like a really sparky top end, but it's also got loads of body. Like, it all depends on how hard you hit it or where you hit it or whatever. It's just an amazing guitar. And the neck pickup, I think the reason I love this guitar is, if you've watched my channel at all, you know I'm not much of a lead guitar player. I'm not really into it. I'm into writing songs. And for a long time, this was the only guitar I had that I wrote so many songs on. And as a rhythm guitar player and songwriter in a band, to me, this is the perfect guitar. It's got body. But it's also airy. And it has that Telecaster thing going on. So with the Bogner Ecstasy drive added in, I've had this guitar for a long time. I'm super at home playing, and it sounds in my head the way an electric guitar is supposed to sound. Again, clean. Basically, this guitar does everything the way I would want any electric guitar to do, and I just love it. Again, they're very rare, unfortunately. So there's been loads of Thinline Telecasters. By the way, this one came when I bought it with a white pearlite pitch guard, which I actually had in guitar for about 10 years. But then I put this black one on about 10 years ago, and it just looks so much more rootsy and cool to me since I did that. It's Japanese. It's from 1996. They made them from like 96 to I think 99, 2000. And these pickups sound so much different to the even the Mexican ones that follow straight afterwards than any pickups. They're just more open and airy sounding and less humbuckery and more exactly halfway between humbucker and single coil. They're noiseless, which is great, but they do have a single coil sort of quality to them. They can be gotten secondhand on occasion on eBay or Reverb for around the $1,000 mark, which I think is an unbelievable steal. Basically, I think the best Telecaster you can get your hands on right now. So there you go. Interesting, I think, that if you're looking for a Strat, a really, in my opinion, like a perfect high-end Strat, there's an option there. If you're looking for a 335 style guitar, there's two. There's the Hagstrom and the Cort. If you're looking for a Les Paul, I really think you'll be hard pressed to do better than an Orville, but you will have to search it out over time. And obviously, if you're looking for a telly, that my 72 Thinline telly to me is the ultimate telly, although it's not a standard telly. It's just my favorite guitar of all time. So I think they're really interesting guitars to look out for, and not the easiest to find. Various different price points, but be interesting for people to offer up alternatives for those types of guitars in the comments below. I'm always interested in finding unusual brands or brands that aren't so mainstream that do interesting either guitars that have their own personality or even obvious copies of existing popular guitars. I think you don't have to buy a Gibson or a Fender or a PRS, for example, to get that style of guitar in really good quality. And at the other end of the spectrum, you don't have to buy a Harley Benton copy. There are interesting and unusual brands out there that have made guitars either in the past or even in the current day that you can pick up really, really interesting guitars. So I just thought this might be an interesting video of 5 interesting guitars to look out for. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, throw comments down in the comment section below with alternative suggestions. Please like and subscribe. I thank you if you've gotten this far in the video. And I guess I'll see you in another video again soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.